Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be recreating a few bits and pieces of this Apple Watch website in Figma. And you might think since it's an Apple website that it's going to be super complicated, but a lot of this is actually very simple, and I think this is a great way to get more comfortable designing in Figma, even if you're a beginner. So let me walk you through the sections that we're going to be recreating. We're going to skip this first video section and we're going to recreate this section here where you hover over these cards and they expand. And you can also flip through this way or do a horizontal scroll on your keypad. Then we are going to recreate this section here. Super simple, but I really want to show you guys how to create a button like this with this gradient. Lastly, we're going to recreate this accordion section here where these sections expand and the image on the right changes. Hopping into Figma, just sort of outlined the structure of the site and left blank these pieces that we're going to be recreating. And I also have pulled out some of the important styles. So we are going to need the SF Pro display font, an icon or two, and some different gray colors that appear on Apple's website. So first things first, let's just get this title down. So I'm just going to hit T on my keyboard for text and we'll type in get to know Apple Watch. And then this is already an SF Pro display, but this probably does not need to be that big. I'm going to grab a guide from the side here and just stick it here at the beginning of these headlines so I know where to position this. That looks pretty good. Now let's get into these cards. So since there's several of them, I want to make these a component so that we don't have to like double and triple our work. So first I got to make sure I know what size to make these. So I'm just going to grab one of the images here that I screenshotted, and I just want to sort of line these up to see if I want like 20 pixels between them. How big do I need to make these? So they can be a little bigger than that because we want like 4 1/4 to be showing. So we'll just kind of go like this and then see what size we're working with. 253 by 256. Okay, so that's generally the size that we're looking for. So I am going to create a frame by just hitting F on my keyboard, and we'll do it off to the side here. We said 253. I'm going to do 250. I'm going to do 260 for now. And we'll do 260 by whatever we need it to be. So I'll just do that. Okay, get rid of that for now. Actually, we're going to need that soon. Okay, I'm going to call this, I'm going to call this card, and we want to have the corners rounded a good bit. And then what I'm going to do is just drop this right in here. And we're going to make sure we have that 16 pixel radius on the image as well. Okay. And then since we want this to expand, I actually need to have 2 different states of this component. So this is good maybe for the expanded state. Now let's make the default state. So I'm going to make this a component by hitting Option Command K, and then we'll go over and add a variant. Just click on the plus button here. And we're going to leave this second one how it is. So we'll call this property state and hover. And then we're actually going to edit the default one and make it a little bit smaller. So I'm just taking the image that's inside of here and making it a little bit smaller and centering it. And then we can get rid of the fill in the background. We can actually do that on both of those. Okay, so we'll see if that's too subtle or not subtle enough. We need to set this up in prototype mode first. So I'm just going to set up a transition from the default state to the hover state. So instead of on click, we want while hovering. We want smart animate, and I think ease in and out would be good. So let's try that out. Go back into design mode, and I'm going to click on this default state, copy and paste it into here. We'll give it a good 32 pixels of space below our heading, maybe even more actually. Okay, and then let's see if we go into preview mode, let's see how this is actually looking. Okay, nice. I think that's good. I don't think that's too, maybe it could be a little bit more subtle. So we can go in here and make this just the teeniest bit bigger. So let's see, 7. Oops. Yeah, okay. That should be good. And because we made that change on the component level, and this is an instance of that component, that change is going to reflect we only need to make it once. So that's nice. So then what I'm going to do is duplicate this. Okay, looking pretty good. And then we will just change the background of this image. And we'll just do that for the rest. Now, actually, if we want to be able to scroll through these, we need to be able to sort of see all of them and then make as many as there actually are. So I'm going to go up to this frame and hit unclip content here so that we can see actually how many of these we need. I kind of forget. So I'll just make a bunch and then we'll go in and switch all the images. Okay, so we'll just do 6 here. Okay, so now that we have all of these images in, we need to make this like able to horizontal scroll. So I'm going to frame them just by going Option Command G, and we'll call this cards. And then I'm going to actually extend the frame. We'll turn on auto layout and we'll give ourselves like 80 pixels of padding on the side. I'm actually going to give us more on the right side. I think it's like 118 that lines up with this. Yeah, that should be good. And we're going to go into prototype mode, and under scroll behavior, we want to keep it at position scroll with parent. That's good. But instead of overflow no scrolling, we want horizontal. Then go in and make that frame smaller so that the content itself is bigger than the frame. The frame is what you want people to be able to see, and the content is kind of what comes in and out of that frame. So this should work better. Let's go into here, and there we go. That works a lot better. The only thing is I want there to be more space on the right here, like when you get to the edge. So the way that we can do that is by clicking on this and actually giving our last card some padding. So I'm going to take this last card and I'm going to control click and frame the selection, do auto layout, and we're going to give that frame 80 pixels, but only on the right. So let's see if that works. Okay, yeah, there we go. Perfect. So now we have a little bit more breathing room whenever we are scrolling through these. And also, of course, when you hover over them, they expand a little bit. The next section that we are recreating is this. And this section is really simple, but I do want to show you how to make this cool button. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm just going to add our title here. So we'll do Apple Watch Studio. And then I'm going to create a frame. So I just, F on my keyboard, not R. I'm creating a frame to just go inside here. And we want to give it the same color as the background. So I'm just going to sample that there. And then we have this frame with the text inside of it. And we're using 118 padding. So I just wanted to make that. And then I'm going to do a frame inside that frame. So I'm hitting F again on my keyboard. I'm going to line it up with that 118, and we'll do the same on this side. And then we're going to make this one white, but we want to give it that corner radius. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe it's like 20. Okay, that's looking good. Then let's get our image in there. So I'm just going to paste it inside. And we can mess around with the size a little bit. Okay. That looks pretty nice. Mix, match, make it yours. So this should be much smaller, maybe like 20. And then we'll do our little body copy here. So choose a case, pick a band, configure your perfect watch. We'll center that. We should actually have that centered as well. And we'll make this 16 regular, and is it still the black? Yeah, that's fine. Just center that. There. Now I feel like this needs to be bigger and bolder, so we'll make it 24. Okay. That's looking better. Maybe even... Okay, I'm being a perfectionist here. So now the fun part, I want to make this button. So create your style. So I'm going to hit F on my keyboard for frame, and I like my buttons to be at least 44 pixels high. So we'll do that. And then we're going to add a stroke and give it a corner radius of, I think 40 would be like exactly rounded like that. Let's kind of spread these things out a little bit so it looks nice. Then we'll give this like 3, maybe just 2 pixels. Okay, let's put our text inside. Create your style. I feel like that should be like bolder. Okay, then we'll do auto layout so we can easily manipulate the size here. Okay. Make sure we center everything nicely. And now I want to create that rainbow effect here. So I am going to click on this stroke color and go into gradient. And as you can see, we can add like as many like stops, I guess, as we want. So now we just have to make these stops different colors. So if we wanted to copy like the Apple one exactly how it is, we can just click on each color and then sample it. So we'll click on these. We'll do this like red, orange. We'll go to purple. We'll go to blue and to green. Let's see how that looks. Nice. I think it just needs to be brighter. Like, I don't know why these aren't quite as bright. Maybe we need a new one in here that's like more red. Yeah. And then we just, spread them out. Beautiful. I think that looks so fun. Okay. So that's that section. That was pretty easy. And now let's do this last section here. So I'm going to make a frame again, just so that we have sort of each section as a frame. Then, just going to copy this heading down here. Made for each other. Cool. And then again, we're going to have this sort of frame within a frame. So I'm just going to copy and paste that down here, but then we'll get rid of all the content. I just know that it's the right size, so, or it's at least the right width, probably not the right height. This is probably more the height we need. In fact, probably go more like that. Okay, cool. So now this actually needs to be a component. And the reason for that is the way that we're going to make these switch between one another is by having 3 different instances of this same component that we can sort of toggle back and forth from. So I'm going to drag this over here and we're going to call this accordions. We'll make that a component again, Option Command K. And now let's create the first one. So just going to have this text here. Okay. But then we want to give these like a fixed width. So maybe like 172. Okay, I'm just going to hit L on my keyboard for line. We'll create a line here. Okay, last thing we need is that icon, just this little chevron. And we just put it directly across from the middle of that. And we'll line it up with this side here, the side of this line. And this is the one that's actually open. So the rest of them need to be pointing down. This one actually needs to be pointing up. Okay. So the only thing I'll say is I think we could give ourselves a little bit more horizontal breathing room. So let's do that. I think that looks nice. Okay, perfect. So then on this one, we need to put the correct image. So the iPhone is the one we want. So I'm just going to go in and grab that image. I think that should be a good size. And so now we have our sort of starting point. So this is automatically what this section will look like when someone starts scrolling, but we need 2 more variants. So I'm going to go in and add a property, add a variant. We'll call this one, we'll call the property section, and this will be section 1. This will be section 2. So for section 2, this will not be there. We're going to move this up, turn this around, and this text will be here. So now let's copy that text. Beautiful. Okay. And then we just need a different image. Apple Fitness for this one. Okay, that should be good. And then lastly, we need the Apple Watch and AirPods. So this will come down. This will come up. Grab that text. Awesome. And this last image. Okay, that looks great. So now all we need to do is set up the interactions in between these. So if you see on the site here, like no matter where you click, you don't just have to click on this tiny caret. You can also click on like the whole heading and it will actually switch to that one. So let's make sure we can do that with these. So in order to do that, I'm going to group these together. So these ones aren't going to be clickable because this one's already open, but this will be clickable. So I'm going to group that together. That will be clickable. That will be clickable. That will be clickable. That will be clickable. And that will be clickable. And I would name these in the layers panel if this were a real project, but this is just for practice. Okay, so now we'll go into prototype mode and we want to set this up so that when someone clicks on here, they're going to be taken to this. So change to section 2. So I think we want to do instant for this. Okay, and so then if someone clicks here, we want it to take them to number 3, instant. Someone clicks here, take them to number 1. Number 3, number 1, and number 2. Okay, so that's good. Now let's grab an instance. Oops. Let's grab this instance and throw it on in here. And let's see what it looks like. Okay. There we go. That looks super nice. All right, guys, that is about it. I hope you enjoyed recreating this site with me. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in a future video. Bye.